All right, guys. So it seems like at this point, it's exceedingly rare that we have a high profile comedian who hasn't fallen down in one way, shape, or form the right wing rabbit hole. Now, here we have Bill Burr in his latest podcast, who seems to be the exception to that rule. And he's going to lay into billionaires, explain what he thinks should be done with them. He sympathizes with the struggles of average working class Americans. And he also makes an interesting point at the end where he talks about the culture war distraction method of the billionaire class. So let's go ahead and watch this clip and we'll come out the other side.
Dude, this is the amount of people that are struggling out there because of these fucking billionaires. And they got us all arguing liberal and conservative. We got to stop doing that. Like, I am so tired of hearing about people going to bed worried about what's going to happen next week. There is so much fucking money in this country. And there's so much work being done, you know. And if you work a full fucking week at a job, you should be able to pay your fucking rent. You shouldn't have to go out and get another fucking job and still be struggling. It's bad for the country. Because then the kids don't see their parents and they're not getting the upbringing that they need. It's so fucking... These fucking billionaires, they need to be put down. You know, like fucking rabid dogs. They're like rabid with fucking greed. And just going out and just dividing everybody. You know, just the fucking epitome of this time right now. Like how divisive we are that, like, you know, the Gulf of Mexico is now called the Gulf of America. And people get excited. Like, how the fuck does that help your wallet? It's an empty gesture. And then it's also like a racist gesture. Like, that's the white guy under, that's him saying fuck Mexicans without saying it. You know, like.
All right. So again, not, I guess, mincing words there. I won't repeat what he said about what should be done to billionaires because it might get my channel demonetized. I think Bill has an extra layer of security there on his end. But the point that he makes at the end there, I think at least to any conservatives, if there are any out there who are watching this video, this is the most important point. And Crystal did a great monologue over on Breaking Points on this recently, which is that what the billionaire class under Trump, especially guys like Elon, are currently doing to the MAGA working class base right now is almost exactly in the reverse the same strategy that Hillary Clinton used against the Bernie wing of the Democratic Party back in 2016. So rewind the tape. What am I talking about here? Bernie was running a much more class-focused campaign in that Democratic primary. Hillary Clinton, who is a corporate stooge through and through, didn't want to have that class confrontation, the billionaires, the elites, the 1% versus the working class. And so what did she do when Bernie Sanders said, we need to break up the big banks? She literally went out there in an infamous clip now on the campaign trail, and she said, is breaking up the big banks going to end racism or discrimination or, you know, discrimination against LGBTQ folks? No. So she distracted away from the class analysis, the class antagonisms, by using culture war issues, right? Now, what Republicans are doing right now is the exact same of that, but in the reverse. So now you have Elon Musk, who's using anti-woke politics instead of the woke politics that Hillary Clinton was using. He's using anti-woke politics and attacking immigrants, as Bill was just pointing out there with, let's call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America right now. They're using this bullshit anti-trans, anti-migrant culture war hysteria to distract from the fact that they are corporate stooges through and through, that they do not plan in any way, shape, or form to materially improve the lives of average working class people. Okay? That's what I wish that conservatives would understand is actually happening in this moment. Elon Musk, the wealthiest human in history, does not give a single solitary shit that you're struggling to put food on the table for your family or to keep a roof over your head. He doesn't care. Okay, that's not his role right now in American politics or in the American economy. So Bill does a great job of calling out that bullshit. He does a great job of pointing out the insane state of the capitalist system in the United States right now, where, I mean, just as one example, we have three human beings in this country who have more wealth than the bottom half. I guess if you were going to try to make some sort of a justification for this, you would somehow delusionally have to believe that those three guys are doing more work than the bottom half of Americans, which is what, like 150 some odd million people? I mean, again, delusional to believe that this is a fair or meritocratic system. It's not. This is a system where rule by elite is the default. We have worse wealth inequality than during the Gilded Age. We have a vast majority of the country working paycheck to paycheck, barely able to put anything into savings, if anything at all, barely able to keep a roof over their heads or to keep food on the table. And then we got a handful of guys who have more money than God. We're currently on pace right now to see our first trillionaire, likely Elon Musk, individually, within the next couple of years. By 2030, we're going to have 5 to 10 trillionaires. And I saw this on TikTok the other day, and I double-checked the math on it, and it's shockingly true. If you're worth $1 trillion, you know what you could buy with that amount of wealth? You could buy the entirety of the NFL, the entirety of the MLB, the entirety of the NBA, the entirety of the NHL, and then also like Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, KFC, and McDonald's, and still have billions of dollars left over, right? That amount of wealth should never, in a reasonable economic system, be in the hands of one person. But that's the track that we're currently on right now. And what Trump and Elon are doing is set up to make that worse. More on that here in a second. Shouldn't be surprising, though, that we're getting this from a guy like Bill Burr, because he's had some other base takes, I think, in recent history. Somehow, I don't know if it's like the people who he surrounds himself with, or if he just hasn't gotten himself into this pipeline, going down this right-wing sphere that others like Joe Rogan and plenty of other comedians have gotten themselves into. But just a couple recent examples. He was on Jimmy Kimmel recently, and I can't play the clip because they'll demonetize the video. But we had Bill Burr going on a free Luigi rant, which made Jimmy Kimmel do a hard pivot away from it. Now, I think the context of what they were talking about at the time was the insurance companies in LA who were taking advantage of the fire situation. And so we had that kind of commentary in regards to that. But, you know, talking about Luigi Mangione, obviously the guy who killed the United Healthcare CEO. We also had him going back and forth with Bill Maher, who has been absolutely atrocious over the last number of months and years. And Bill was trying to get him to condemn, I guess, student protesters who were going out and trying to rally against the genocide that our government has been fully arming, backing, supporting, giving diplomatic cover for in Gaza. And Bill basically told him straight to his face, why the fuck am I listening to you? And then also said, I'm on the side of the kids. So shouldn't be too shocking that we're getting one of these kinds of takes from a guy like Bill Burr. Credit to him. I hope that he stays on this path and that he doesn't get diverted or fall into the wrong pipeline, because he may end up being sort of the closest to George Carlin that we've had in terms of the modern era here. Now, following up again on Elon and Trump. So this is the latest here, guys. We have Elon Musk via Tesla and his, I guess, armored Cybertrucks getting what is said to be the largest State Department contract for this year of $400 million. So to paint the picture here, guys, Elon Musk donates $290 million, close to $300 million, to Trump's campaign to get him elected. Trump then basically sells the presidency to Elon Musk to be our CEO dictator and to then illegally and unconstitutionally rip up the entire federal government, every government agency that he can get his hands on. Now, he's doing this under the guise of waste, fraud, and abuse, and we're getting rid of DEI. Again, remember, this is a fucking distraction. This is not real. What they're actually doing is, number one, they're targeting programs that Elon Musk has a direct conflict of interest with. Like, just one example, the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, was set up in the aftermath of the '08 financial crash by Elizabeth Warren and others. He's targeting this agency because through Twitter, or X as he calls it, he wants to make them essentially a payment processor. The CFPB was trying to regulate them as a payment processor so that they would be subject to the same regulations that other banking or financial institutions are subjected to. So Elon Musk comes into the government and, quote, deletes the CFPB from existence. That's just one example. There are plenty of others with the National Labor Relations Board, a bunch of different agencies. I think there's over 11 that Elon Musk has direct financial and legal conflicts of interest with. So he buys the presidency. He comes in. He illegally and unconstitutionally deletes agencies that he has a direct conflict of interest with. Guys, this is a hostile takeover of the U.S. government. Not as though before Trump came along, anything was great. We still had massive, widespread issues within both parties in terms of campaign finance and corporate capture and billionaire capture of our political system. But this situation is just ripping the fucking mask off. Now we're saying, okay, we have the richest man in human history who's in the Oval Office ripping up agencies left and right that he has conflicts of interest with. And somehow, even though the entirety of the Department of Education, the entirety of the National Labor Relations Board, the entirety of the CFPB, USAID, NIH, even though all of those have apparently nothing redeemable within them, somehow his contracts that personally enrich him don't need to be looked at. $400 fucking million. It could not be more obvious what's happening here, guys. This is a hostile billionaire takeover of our government. Now, at the same time that we have all of this Elon Musk shit happening, we also have the House GOP under Mike Johnson, who are pushing to simultaneously reveal their plan to devastate Medicare or Medicaid and food stamp programs, as they're also planning a $4.5 trillion tax cuts and to lift the debt ceiling. So suddenly when Republicans come into power, we're no longer worried about the debt and the deficit, right? If it's under any Democratic administration, we're trying to fund programs to address climate change or to benefit working class people, then it's a massive issue, the debt and the deficit. We can't afford to spend a single goddamn penny, right? But when Republicans are in power, they are willing to blow up the debt and deficit to the tune of trillions of dollars in order to what? To simultaneously slash programs for working class people while giving a massive tax cut to billionaires and wealthy corporations. They're doing this in your face and simultaneously somehow trying to convince you that they're the party of the working class. Now, neither party is the party of the working class right now, but it's certainly not Republicans. The idea that Trump is some sort of a populist, he is an anti-populist. Look at the people who he's staffed his administration with. It's billionaires, lobbyists, donors. This is not a populist administration. It is the exact precise opposite of that. He is doing the bidding of the elite, the establishment, of corporate interests, of lobbyists, of donors. That's who Trump is. That's what the Republican Party is. And the Democratic Party as well, to a large extent. Not giving them a free pass here. Now, to finish off the video, as a comparison point here between what I think a good comedian who has his head on his shoulders and is still at least somewhat connected to the real world, we have here Joe Rogan, who spent the last number of months and years bringing on right-wing influencers and podcasters and media figures and billionaires to basically lie about a bunch of shit and gobble it up as the idiot that he is. And here he is basically running cover for Elon Musk and being as subservient as I could possibly imagine. Let's go ahead and watch this clip here. It's genuinely humiliating at this point.
Organization.
That's fucking amazing. And then this other thing about Elon. Elon's going to steal everybody's money. He has $400 billion. I'm telling you, he's not going to steal your money. I'm telling you, that's not what he's doing. What he's doing is he's a super genius that's been fucked with. Okay? And when you've been fucked with by these nitwits that hide behind three-letter agencies, and you're dealing with one of the smartest people alive, and he helps Donald Trump get into office, and he goes, I want to find out what kind of corruption is really around. Well, you fucked up. You fucked up and picked the wrong psychopath on the spectrum because he's going to hunt you down.
Okay, the one thing I agree with there is that Elon Musk is a psychopath who's likely on the spectrum. Okay, that's the one thing that I would agree with. Now, kind of ironic, right, to be saying that they're going after corruption in these agencies directly after you just said that Elon spent $250 million to get Trump elected. Is that not corruption? That is the baseline system that we have put in place of legalized corruption and bribery, where billionaires like Elon Musk, who have more money than God, can dump infinite sums of money into super PACs to get people elected. And those people who were just elected are going to turn around and do their bidding, or in this case, directly put them in the White House, right? That's not corruption. Elon Musk is actually just a super genius, the most brilliant mind of our time. I mean, I'm surprised Joe can even get the words out of his mouth with how far Elon's cock is down his throat. But he's a super genius. He's the greatest mind of our time. And he doesn't want more money. He always got enough money. He doesn't want more money. I mean, how gullible, how stupid can some of these people be? Now, I remember a time when Joe sort of more identified himself with the left, where he was pro Bernie Sanders. He kind of like low-key endorsed him back in the day. What the fuck happened? I mean, was it COVID that just broke his brain? I mean, how do you completely flip your positioning on such core fundamental political philosophies like this as quickly as he did? Is it just that he has so much money at this point that he's become so out of touch that he doesn't understand the current economic state of the US right now? Or I don't know. I mean, if you watch Joe Rogan, explain to me what you guys think happened to this man's brains, because it's just humiliating at this point. It's just humiliating to pretend as if Elon Musk has noble intentions, couldn't possibly be after some sort of a financial benefit using his position now. It's just utterly and completely delusional. So I'll leave you guys off with that. Hopefully Bill Burr stays on his track. I don't know who's surrounding him right now, but it must be good people, because he is on Earth, while many of these other conservative influencers and podcasters and comedians and whatever else are just completely out of their minds right now. So we'll leave it off with that.
Politic guy has the best politic. Believe me, no one does it like him. Believe me, everyone is saying